So, welcome back, everybody. I'm James.
And I'm John.
And as you know, this is Games with John and James. And we were talking here recently, so I'm going to hold on our topic for this week.
I was going to say, usually on a podcast when we're recording, that's when we usually talk.
Fair. Accurate. I need to learn how to use my words better. So, before I give you the juicy topic, I figured it's only important to revisit my favorite episode with the John and James replay. And, turn-based RPGs. Now that you've had
more thoughts to expound upon?
Well, now that you've had a week to sit on it and play more Lost Sphere, do you feel they still have a place?
This is predicated on the fact that I played more Lost Sphere.
Do you hear this? Do you hear this, people?
I just love messing with you.
My name is John, and I want you to play this. Okay, John, I'll play that, but I want you to play this. John, did you play this? No, I didn't.
I like how in my mind I am exactly how I envision myself. Anyway.
Just like that voice?
Yeah, exactly. Like a freaking bank robbery clown.
So I wanted to touch back on our topic because so I was actually talking with my brother. So as you all know, he's a bigger JRPG guy than me, which John still thinks is inhumanly possible.
Yeah, I just don't know how anybody can be actual, blood tested, not O positive or AB or any of that, but actual JRPG blood type.
So we actually had a pretty in-depth conversation in regards with turn-based versus action. Should it be here? Shouldn't it be here? And he actually made a pretty awesome point.
Your brother did?
He did. He made a pretty good point, and we missed out on it on the podcast. So for him, the way he worded it, so every game out there, you have a formula that's going to be good for it. Your Forzas, your Halos, your Chrono Triggers, etc. Every game falls into a typecast, but you can separate the typecast through player agency that John likes, through amazing narration that I like, to where it doesn't matter what's there, you've given a polished product. There are games out there, so he quoted off a whole bunch of left-wing ones, Dragonstar Varnir, Death End Request, Wild Arms 4. If you look at them, turn-based combat, but it doesn't take you out of the game, it doesn't take you away from the game, it doesn't overly immerse you to where the combat's the only thing enjoyable. It's still relevant, and when you look at the game immediately, it clicks. It's like, oh yeah, that's going to be turn-based.
Well, okay, but at the same time, the question then becomes genre. Because you mentioned Halo, right? Primarily a first-person shooter franchise.
Exactly, typecast into that.
But they also have Halo Wars. They also have Spartan Assault. And not only that, but in other ways to narratively deliver on the Halo universe, they have books and TV specials and Halo Legends and movies and stuff. Genre wasn't really the question as much as it was just turn-based as an actual mechanic, a mechanism to deliver whatever it's meant to deliver. Does it need to exist anymore? And we eventually got to the point where, yes, any type of delivery of a story or a theme or a concept that can be expressed in the developer's actual mindset to explore, that's what matters the most. So it's not going to go away, but it's not necessarily a necessity either, is what I'm saying. Because anything can be delivered in any genre.
So,
if the question is of genre, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. No, I felt you were going to dive in there, especially when I mentioned Halo. So we talked back and forth 30, 45 minutes, and the nugget he gave me that kind of blew my mind. It doesn't matter what you do with your game. You could tell your story in the vein of Bubsy 3D.
Or even in a visual novel. Silent Hill has a visual novel on the Game Boy Advance.
So you can tell your story however you want. Everything, as you mentioned, has a place. Doesn't need to go, doesn't need to stay. It's there for you to use as a tool. And what he said, when I'm talking deep diving JRPGs, this man could quote you the story from any JRPG you quote to him, even if it's the most obscure thing that didn't even release in North America. This kid's knowledge makes me look like I'm in first grade.
If we ever had him on the show, I swear to God.
I know, we'd have an entire month dedicated to JRPGs.
It'd be like that scene in The Shining where the twins are in the hallway. Come play with us, John.
And John's literally like, okay.
No, I would close my eyes like the kid in the movie.
So he parsed it down, and if you look at JRPGs today, they're leaning more and more into action or Souls-esque.
Mm-hmm.
So what's resulting is those games that do give us the turn-based are actually shining gems coming through the iterative norm right now.
Mm.
And I didn't really think of it that way because, I'm playing a turn-based JRPG in Astria Ascending, and so I'm like, okay, cool, it's still here, it still exists, whatever.
Because you have experience and you're familiar with the genre, the game mechanic is always going to be familiar to you.
So it's actually become to where turn-based JRPGs are the gems now.
They're the rarity.
Exactly. And they're done so well. Dragon Quest XI, like I mentioned, the ones my brother mentioned. If you look at it, they're done with such polish that you don't even really care is it turn-based or action. The game is polished.
The game is what it is. So the only last question I'll posit on this replay and touch on with this subject is at what point is turn-based as a game mechanic going to be instrumental in delivery on the narrative? Because I can tell you a scene from a game that is very much not a turn-based RPG, but used actual player input and didn't actually initiate anything with it.
Okay. Enlighten me. What game?
It's a game called Gungrave. It's a third-person shooter for the PlayStation 2.
I know what Gungrave is. Come on now.
I'm sure you're familiar with it. I'm just explaining to the audience because we have people who listen. Anyway, I hope.
It's not just about you, James.
Yeah, selfish dick. No, but so there's a scene, you'd spent that entire game pumping every enemy full of lead and using your coffin missiles and bullet dancing and all sorts of crazy shit, blowing everything away. That is the core engagement of the game. That is everything in the game. Shoot everything. When you beat the final boss of the game, you are at what seems like a cutscene, where you are basically holding a gun to the main antagonist of the game, who you've spent your entire life chasing after, as well as all of his cohorts and all of his cronies, all of his monsters, and you have cutscenes that explore why he hates this character and why he needs to take him down. You as a player feel it as you experience the game, and it finally comes to a head at the final moments of the game where you as Brandon Heat, Gungrave, the man himself, beyond the grave, is pointing a gun at Harry McDowell's head, and he welcomes that bullet. And it does nothing. You wait until you realize that you, as the player, have to shoot him. You hit the square button, gun sound effect, boom, game over. You won. For me, that is something that resonates from the core engagement, core experience, emotional core of everything involved with a game like that. So for me, when I hear something like turn-based, I see it as something very, not the word trite. What am I looking for? It doesn't deliver on an emotional content.
Very neutral.
Yeah, it feels like data entry. Whereas that felt like, oh, I realize what I'm doing as a player and as a character.
So I can see like how that would be very powerful. I think the pendulum is honestly going to shift back. So JRPGs, they shift. One generation turn-based, one generation action, one generation turn-based, one in the middle, whatever. I think
hybrid systems that Square tried to do for a while.
Yeah. I think what's going to happen is we've had so many action RPGs like pushed out there and so many Souls-like or roguelite RPGs that we're going to see it shift back over to the turn-based dynamic, and it's given it enough time to where you're going to get those vested story moments, because if you look at games, so with Radiata Stories,
yeah,
you actually have to make that choice. Do you want to side with the humans and, human-like stuff or the monsters? So it gives you that true choice engagement, and once you make that decision, once you have that pivotal moment, it literally transforms your gameplay, and it transforms it in a way where you're like, damn, like I feel for these monsters, or man, these monsters are horrible. Like you literally get so involved, invested. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see turn-based gravitate towards that kind of vested intensity, and I think we're going to get kind of a new style of turn-based, because that's honestly, if we look at video games now, they're light years ahead of where they used to be. So you have to find ways to be engaging. And the number one way, as you know, to be engaging, John, is literally,
Start a podcast.
hey, we're engaged, is to give you the choice of what to truly do. If I do A, the game is going to gravitate towards path A, B, path B, C, path C, D, path D.
What you're basically describing is an actual RPG. Not a JRPG, an RPG.
Oh. So I think that's going to happen. And honestly, I hope we can maybe deviate away from the giant waifu addiction.
No, those can stay. That's fine.
I don't like RPGs, but I gladly want to see my waifu.
I don't like JRPGs, but I do love titties.
Waifu no laifu.
Oh, fuck me. Well, I just outed myself. There you go.
So with that, that's all we have for our replay today. So stay tuned. After the break, you will find out what this glorious topic is. And let me tell you, it's a doozy. And one that probably should have happened earlier.
And the only way you're going to get to hear it is if you buy the official episode 13 Games with John and James podcast Nintendo Switch cartridge. So fork out your money, folks.
We have a game? Huh.
Not with that attitude. All right, stick around, folks.
So, welcome back, everybody. So, that was our final takes for turn-based RPGs. I'm a fanboy. I hope they stay forever. You know that.
I'm not a fanboy, but I really don't care either way.
I'm glad you clarified.
I just think it's interesting to debate those things. In the same reason why we're going to debate stuff today, if the wonderful segue that I set up wasn't any indication, we're going to posit a simple question. Physical versus digital.
Physical versus digital.
How do you prefer, in what flavor do you prefer your games?
I want mine lemonade flavored.
I want my Nintendo Switch cartridge flavored.
So, honestly, as you heard me mention, it's something we probably should have talked about a lot earlier because it is always going to be a contentious debate because you have as John will attest, you have your physical purists like myself. You walk into my house and it's door, video game mecca, rest of house. My living room is consumed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool.
I remember sitting on a stack of rare unopened collector's editions to play games with you.
Hey, you know what? I actually have opened them because they display.
You better have opened your Xbox too.
No comment. I will open it this weekend.
I say the bear in me came out.
Look for the...
Oh, that song. Get Mowgli. Anyway, so it's always something to discuss because I remember when Valve launched Steam and people were like, but you don't own them. They're on an account. Like it's one of those things where it's so ubiquitous now that I only even think about it. So that's why it took so long to even talk about it, where I'm like, yeah, of course I buy digital games.
It's a challenge in today's market. So there are so many reasons to get physical. There are so many reasons to get digital.
A lot of reasons to get physical.
Ayo. Physical copies generally will come with something that you want, be it artwork, be it a nice display case, collector's editions. You could get statues, art books, soundtracks, etc. There's generally some goodies to go with that physical collection aside from owning it. Digital, honestly, the big advantage is, hey, my house hasn't been taken over by video games. Your entire library does get to travel with you, so you're not limiting yourself. Like, say you have an extended work trip, and as a physical collector, you might be able to bring a couple games, but if you're a digital collector, hey, look, here's my entire 400-game library going on the road.
Here's literally my entire library in my pocket. And you know what actually helped, I think, sell that to consumers? Phones and phone gaming.
Mobile gaming can go to hell.
Not mobile gaming, but mobile games. You know what I'm saying?
Mobile gaming can go to hell. I do know what you're saying, but I'm standing by that statement.
You can stand by that all you want. You can still be wrong. Anyway.
I'll fight you.
I like how I get to say these things and not people in the comments. But like what I'm saying is, in terms of digital goods, right? Like that was even the concept of DLC originally. Like the Elder Scrolls horse armor, like that didn't come with the game. They added that later.
Mm-hmm.
So presenting something that actually is viable with digital ownership is pretty cool. That's why we have NFTs now. Fuck me. God, no, I take it all back. Screw it.
No!
I want my physical monkey painting.
So for me personally, I don't expect anyone to ever follow in my suit, have 600 games from collector's editions to traditional ones over multiple consoles. You're going to collect how you want to collect, and that is perfectly fine. My opinion on the matter, I'm not a fan of digital, and I'm going to lay that out for you on why. So, as John mentioned, Valve kind of started the process with Steam. Steam comes out. At first, people are like, well, what about my discs? What about this? Like, you're devaluing this.
What about DRM?
Oh, my God. And so it was a little slow going at first because people's propensity was still physical versus digital. Yep. But Steam gained traction. One of the big advantages of Steam is if your company doesn't have a chance of actually releasing something onto the masses, you can work a partnership with Steam to where your game gets noticed. And that's super cool because it helps those indie developers. Like, I'll be the first to say, like, digital gives indie developers the means to avoid a lot of cost to get their product to you.
Well, it's also, touching on that as well, it's also like self-publishing. You don't even need necessarily a publisher. You can just go to an itch page and download whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. It's really awesome. My biggest I hate digital moment, though, is at any point in time, I'm done with this game. And it's off the Steam library or it's off of the PS3 store, XYZ. So if you didn't own it physically, you're kind of hosed.
See, okay, that's the one thing I will give you straight away is in terms of the actual concept of ownership, right? Like, there's no way in hell that any digital storefront, whether it be GOG, whether it be through Amazon, whether it be, maybe Amazon, they're evil, but whether things through like Valve or even Epic Game Store, if you buy a game and you have a platform, no matter what, I still have all of those games that I've bought over the years through my Steam or Epic Game library. Now, that comes into question when something like what happened with PT happens on the PlayStation Store, where the playable teaser was wrongfully taken down because of Konami's spiteful bullshit. So if you deleted those files, you deleted that game from your PlayStation, you couldn't even download it again. And that was with a free game. Imagine if you paid $60 for it.
So for me, that's something I personally don't want to risk. And so the Steam library, if you look at it from when it started to where it is now, there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of games that have come, gone, or stayed on Steam. If you started at the beginning, there's a big chance some of your Steam library just doesn't exist anymore.
Well, some of those are also rightfully gone, because by the nature of having a digital storefront, you basically have an open door policy for shitty publishers or weird people who want to do asset flips.
I mean, you definitely do kind of draw that gray area of what the hell is happening.
It's like when people would do achievement spamming.
I can't get behind that. So, my opinion is if you or myself or John, we spend money on a game, that's our game in perpetuity. Digital doesn't give you that full warm and fuzzy. If you remember here recently, they announced the PSP digital storefront was going down, and the PS Vita and the PS3 storefront was going down. John, what did the masses do?
Get mad.
And?
Don't feed me lines here, man. Just tell me what you're going to say. I'm too stupid.
So, when that happened, there was such a massive blowback against Sony that Sony delayed it all with the exception of the PSP. Like, you can still go on your PS3 and buy a bunch of stuff on the digital storefront, same for the Vita. And that's awesome. But that is a very harsh reality for what's about to happen. Because if you had purchased it off the digital storefront and didn't have it downloaded to your PSP,
you couldn't get it again.
Digital storefront goes down like it did. You've wasted your money.
So this is where the responsibility, I feel, comes on platform holders, because I'm going to raise up the specter of Microsoft.
Oh, no.
Because you know what Microsoft likes to do He's this Phil Spencer.
Don't you say free on Game Pass. Game Pass costs money.
Free on Game Pass. That opinion is free on Game Pass. No. But what I'm saying is you look at Phil Spencer and how he likes to talk about how emulation and maintaining a digital livelihood and digital library is important for game preservation. Those are two mentalities, because Sony viewed that as like, what's the point of having these servers up if we're onto the PlayStation 5 already? Turn them off. No one's using them anymore. That's not true. It's not entirely true. But you as a company and a platform holder, the onus is on you to keep those things, or at least provide better services for your customers. That's why I've always sided with Microsoft on certain things where it's like, oh yeah, we've always cared about backwards compatibility. Or being able to at least buy them digitally again. Like even right now, you like Blue Dragon, don't you?
Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, you can, on your Xbox Series X right now, you can buy Blue Dragon digitally. Or if you have a disc, it will play.
Cool, find me a disc.
That's on you, okay?
Hey, my birthday's coming up. Complete in box copies of 360 JRPGs. Send them my way.
Lost Odyssey. Fuck you.
You could track it down.
I know, but I'm just saying, you're picking up what I'm putting down here.
So they've set a precedent, and I'll agree. Like, ultimately, what is going to happen? In my opinion, gaming is going to reach a point of critical mass where it's, do I keep spending this asinine amount of money? Look back at the holidays, the PS5 bundle that GameStop did, not only at Thanksgiving, but twice before Christmas. Mm-hmm. $860
pocket change
for the console, 3 games, an extra controller, charging station, and a gift card. Okay. Or if you did the Thanksgiving one, no charging station, extra controller, $100 gift card.
Okay.
And a year of PlayStation Plus.
Yay.
$860 though. For a lot of people, you're looking at that's, do I pay my rent / mortgage, or do I get a PS5? And
that's always been the onus of game players.
Look at how much did the PS2 cost?
Like $300. $249, really?
$199, remember?
I don't remember that. So I didn't have one. I had a Dreamcast for a while.
I'm going to double confirm. I'm going to let John talk. I don't want to be talking out of my ass. John, entertain the masses.
Well, okay, so I'm trying to find out where that point was going, because like if games are expensive, okay, but you know what's not expensive? Like, okay, why did
I apologize. I stand corrected. Mm-hmm. $299 at launch.
Okay, that's fine. The original PlayStation was like that.
So you're absolutely right. Like the onus was always on us as individuals to not overspend. But if you remember how it was, hey, you got the PS2. This is it. No stupid bullshit bundle. No this, or this. It was literally, here's the console. Buy what you need afterwards versus force it all on you.
Okay, so then that's we're talking about platform holders again.
Exactly.
So GameStop is the greedy one who are saying, hey, if you want a PlayStation 5 that we have in stock, we won't just sell it to you. Spend extra money. It's at that point, the onus is on the player, because like, okay, do I want Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, and whatever the hell else for the PlayStation 5?
Tsushima, yeah. Ratchet and Clank, and Spider-Man Miles Morales.
I would say that has value because I want all those games.
So it definitely does add value for some people, but if you look at it, like game price itself is also on the rise. The console price is on the rise. Mm-hmm. Last generation, we could get so the PS4 Pro was $399, and the PS4 was $299, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So still kind of the same model, except for that Pro version costs a little more for obvious reasons.
Even now, if you want the cheap alternative, get a freaking Switch, $299, and then $349 for the OLED version.
So, but it's setting up the precipice of 7 to 10 years from now, we're going to have a PlayStation.
The precipice. We're going to walk off the precipice.
Fair. I need to grammar well.
I just like the idea of like, we're beyond the echelon.
We're right on the edge.
This is like Event Horizon, but it has Sackboy.
So it's setting up that really slippery slope of, as you know, technology advances, technology costs.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 6 or the Xbox Series XX.
The Xbox XX.
So whatever the next generation is for Xbox, and obviously Sony's going to do PlayStation 6, because let's face it, cool.
I want that PlayStation 9 orb that goes into your brain.
My guess is at starting point cost, it's going to be $599. It's going to be another extra $100. And we're eventually...
Now we're getting into market predictions. I think we're diverting a bit.
Well, a little bit, but so this is my worry for physical. This is my worrying for gaming as a whole. It's eventually going to get priced to a point. There are people fully priced out that they're just going to stick with retro. They're going to stick with, stuff from the past. Or, as you mentioned, so the reason why I brought this up, gigantic, long-winded bubble, emulation. So if you want to experience the entire PlayStation 2 library, Raspberry Pi, you can emulate it on
PS Extreme on PC.
Exactly. PS Extreme on PC. You want to experience the entire Super Nintendo library, you can get a Super Nintendo Classic, load up everything you ever want to play on it through Hackchi or any of the other emulation means, and play it. And we've reached a point where you also have the argument, you don't own the game, don't emulate it.
Shut up.
Shut
up. To people who have those hardline stances, shut up.
So I own a complete in-box copy of Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo.
No kidding.
Hey-oh! That goes, for the condition mine is in, can go for up to $1,000. I don't want people to go spend that kind of money to play it in the original format when they could download it for free and experience it that way.
Okay, so again, with the conversation that we're eventually having, this is why I always say we're talking past one another, because it's like, okay, this is the fault of the platform holder to make things like this more if you don't make piracy, if you view it as that, or emulation more convenient than actually owning products that you as a license holder or a platform holder own, you're the problem.
Absolutely. Like
Nintendo's the big problem right now. They put out the N64 with the expansion pass for Nintendo Switch Online, and then
spend $50 instead of $20, but then you also have to buy a controller to play it.
You don't have to buy a controller to play it, but whatever. They're actually providing stuff that actually makes it so it's convenient to play it.
Original form.
Whatever. What I'm saying is that like Nintendo's fucking up when it comes to that as a platform holder. Like if they announced, hey, we're going to announce the NES, the SNES, and the N64 entertainment system that come with the package of owning Nintendo Switch Online, and we're going to give you hundreds of games, that would be like, yeah, sold.
Oh, you mean what PlayStation is doing with their revamped PlayStation Plus that launches later this year?
Or what Microsoft has been doing for years with Game Pass?
I swear to Jesus, if you say free on Game Pass one more time.
I'm just saying, all the games you've ever recommended to me,
right.
I could play on Game Pass.
That's right.
For free.
Ah!
But so again, like getting back to the actual thing we're here to talk about, physical versus digital. Are we going to give up the ghost right now and basically say that both are fine? But here is where I come to why I value digital more. Yes, there is amount of convenience to it, where like I don't have to get up and change the cartridge because I'm a fat piece of shit. I don't know, but like what's nice is a game.
Hey there,
like,
Wally. In your floating chair.
The new blue, red, ooh. But no, like I think about a game like Downwell. You ever played Downwell?
I don't even know what that game is.
It's a game where you go down a well. And it's fun as hell. And it costs $3 to play it. $5, I think I got it on sale for like $3. It was $5 originally, right? Now, are you honestly going to tell me that that is more conducive to me and how much I actually value with that game? That is a phenomenal game. But it is very much a $5 game. I am not going to go out and buy a $20 manufactured piece of plastic just to have it on a game card. That is a perfectly suited experience to be digital only.
Well, I mean, then you're getting into the realm of there are some things, like I mentioned back with the Valve library, like there's no point for them to be physical, and it gives them an avenue for their product to come to the masses. So I agree with that 100%. Like my whole argument is you don't truly own the digital product because eventually a storefront will close. Like even though Sony got massive pushback, the PSP, the PlayStation Portable storefront, finally closed. If you weren't smart enough to have all your shit backed up, you were hosed. And like you said, that goes back to, the platform, the people themselves. Like, hey, come on, there are people still using this. There are some people who can't afford to move forward. There are some people who choose not to move forward because that's where they're happy. Let them enjoy it.
I want to quickly interject. That's why, because they're not being able to manufacture as many PS5s as they want to, they're making more PS4s. That's weird to me, don't you think?
I mean, at this rate, the PS4 will stay the number one sold console at some point. I don't know.
Well, you know what actually was pretty nice about this holiday season? The Xbox Series S was like the leader in the market for holiday sales.
I can believe it.
Hell yeah. No power greater than X.
And
We are fucking fanboys.
hey, DMX.
What?
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Darkman X.
But I think another point needs to be brought up. As much as I love physical, and there are other people out there who love physical games as well, let's talk about the real elephant in the room with physical. You don't even get the full game anymore.
You talk about DLC or season passes and shit?
DLC, season passes, you literally have like a day one patch to actually play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's talk about the reality of that. Like owning physical at this point, if shit shuts down or my stuff messes up and I lose that patch information after the shutdown, my game's just, it's a useless disc.
Well, that's the thing, is that they have been useless discs for a while.
I know, and it makes me sad. It's what? PlayStation 2 was the last. PlayStation 2 and OG Xbox, the last non-really useless discs.
No, I'd give it to PS3 and 360.
The PS3 you were still downloading into the system, though.
Right,
And
but that was a fault of the hardware.
But you also still had the patches, etc. Okay, start of the PS3. Okay. Later years in life, at like 2010 and onward, it was our current trend.
Well, like, because what you're basically saying is like, okay, like I say fault of the hardware immediately because of just the way that the PlayStation 3 architecture was really hard to program for. That's because of the cell processor and proprietary technology, which PlayStation likes to do, which whatever. With the 360, it was the option to install stuff. It didn't get into a point where it was a necessity or a recommendation until like Titanfall, and that was like a flagship thing for the Xbox One in 2013. So like, I think when it comes to useful discs and stuff like that, like that's just the nature of the medium as we get into a more interconnected universe through the internet.
We're eventually going to hit a point where it doesn't matter what you own, physical or digital, they're basically going to be one and the same here in the next 10 years.
It is not true. I'll fight against that until I die.
I don't want it to be true, but...
I do not want Zuckerberg's future.
Oh, you don't want a metaverse to exist in video games?
I don't want a metaverse to exist at all. I kind of want the robots to rise and kill us all before that happens, or at least try.
Damn, dude, that's dark.
Yeah, I know it's dark, but it's also real.
Skynet, don't come on. Don't come on.
Don't come, Skynet.
Like...
There's an actual Japanese company called Skynet. Anyway, have fun with that information, listeners.
Good for them.
I like how it's a tinfoil beanie time.
Oh, man.
What were we talking about?
Put your tinfoil hats on, and we're gonna deep dive into Skynet.
Turtle power. No. Okay, so in terms of advancement of technology and like patch notes and stuff like that, like you're absolutely right. But the funny thing is that like I think about it from the Capcom mold, right? So think about a game like Street Fighter V. Now you can go out and buy Street Fighter V Championship Edition, the premier ending like manufactured disc version of Street Fighter. To the people who were the early adopters who bought Street Fighter V on launch day and got all of the DLC and all the characters and all the costumes and all the patches digitally, if they were to be disconnected from the internet, they could play their vanilla version of Street Fighter V still. Now, I think in terms of game preservation, that's kind of cool. But if you really did want to have a packaged version of the most updated version, you could do that. Most people don't do that. So that's why like Game of the Year editions come out that have all the DLC on the disc, you know?
So yes, you're definitely right on that, and that's awesome that they put everything on the disc. But it shouldn't.
Often to a fault, like with Street Fighter Cross Tekken. People who played that game know what I'm talking about.
And if you have played that game, leave a comment and challenge John to a duel.
I have not played that game in so long.
Dusting off the rust.
Dusting off my friggin' PS3 controller.
I don't. So I want people to continue to be able to enjoy their games how they want. Like, I may be pro physical, but if you have digital, that's cool. I'm not going to rag on you. I'll tease you a little bit, like I do John, obviously.
See, the funny thing is that I think about the avenues where are digital only. Now, granted, that extends into my own console-owning library, where, like, of course I have a digital version of Splatoon. Like, I'll always want to play that game, and I'll always want to have it with me, so of course I want it. The same with, like, even Mario Maker, which I haven't played in years.
Time to load it up. Make another level.
Make one more level.
One more time. The impossible.
Like, not all games are meant for all people, but at the same time, like, you know, whatever. I wanted to support the medium and play the games I wanted to play in the way I wanted to play them. But, like, there are console experiences that I actually reserve for physical owning only. Like, I bought Far Cry 6 on disc because there's every chance in the world I'm going to trade that game in someday. Or, like, any other game I own. See, now you're just sneering because I say I trade my games in.
You rat.
I am the one who I grease the wheels of capitalism with my own blood.
Thanks, GameStop. You make money off of my used game.
Blood and money. That should be a movie. No, but
I hate you so much.
There are experiences perfectly suited for a digital storefront only, in the same way that you can hold on to the physical versions. That being said, if you want me to care about a physical version, don't denigrate or degrade the actual physical ownership experience. Like you just described about the useless discs part, there's no instruction manuals anymore. Like, what's the point of even having a box as big as you do for your Switch games?
Yeah, it's few and far in between. I'm trying to think. I was out and about. This is a couple years ago. The Binding of Isaac for the Switch. I actually saw it out at the GameStop here locally where I'm at on base, and I was like, fuck it, I'll buy this. Why not? I wasn't expecting anything to come with it. It's modern day. If I'm lucky if I get a warning insert for crying out loud.
Don't eat cartridge.
And it literally had an instruction booklet. It had a little art book, had some stickers with it as well. And I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. Neat.
Yeah.
You only get that now with collector's edition. It's just a money grab now.
Well, I think that's the way they have to do it. Like, I think about how... Like,
bring back manuals. Bring back cool shit for not extra price. Viva la consumer!
Again, fault of platform holders and what people are willing to tolerate. What I was going to say.
He's pro-capitalism, folks.
Government mandated manuals in every instruction book in every video game. Rise up, proletariat. Anyway, what I was going to say is I think about Limited Run and how they do their thing. Where, like, I could have bought the Neo Geo Pocket Collection Volume 1 for my Switch, digitally, or PS4 digitally, if I wanted to. But you know what I saw instead? The limited edition that comes with things like posters, the Neo Geo Pocket type box, like a little bit of an art book, and all the stuff that comes with it. And I'm like, hell yeah, I want that stuff.
And why don't you let the masses know, John? Have you received that yet?
It got pushed back in production to Q1 of this year. It was in Q4 of last year.
And when did you buy it last year?
I don't care. I'm going to get it.
I know, I'm just heckling you.
It's the same thing with the Scott Pilgrim collection. I'm like, okay.
No, eventually, we're like, games are just literally boxes and discs at this point. So if you're a physical collector for like the goodies inside it, no, they're kind of non-existent unless you go limited run, strictly limited, Play Asia, some other ones. Or so like Horizon Forbidden West is coming out. I was at GameStop the other day and I'm like, hey, I need to pre-order this. And they're like, do you want the regular or the limited edition? I was like, oh, you have a limited edition? Cool, yeah, I'll do that. So same with Tales of Arise. Like when that came in and I had that collector's edition in, oh yes.
It for me, it's like a placement of value.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That is the entire like preposition of this discussion. Where do you place your value? I value convenience and being able to have an entire library of games just ready to go on any platform I hold.
And I value my games being there after the storefront is gone. But I respect John as a digital person. He is beep boop digital.
I like how I fear the robot uprising, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, sweet, robots are awesome.
Embrace it.
There was one more thing I wanted to touch on, and I'm trying to remember exactly what that was.
You're very forgetful today, John. You remember back when we were trying to say, John remembers a thing. John forgets a thing.
I'm like Taskmaster. No, it's funny because we were going over episode topics for future episodes, and we had such an in-depth conversation about one thing I wanted to talk about that I was like, that could have been the episode. And afterward, I was like, I need a fucking cigarette.
I drained him.
That was brain sex.
That's out of context. I didn't drain him. I didn't drain him.
No, you're editing this episode, so you have to make the choice. Do I leave that in or do I plug it in?
Plug it in, plug it in.
Okay, tangent. If you were a scented candle, what would it be?
What?
If you were a scent, like a Glade plug-in, what would your scent be?
What would my scent be?
Yep.
Burnt electronics.
Wow, like soldering iron smell? Damn. Mine would be, I would smell like gasoline.
Oh my God. You were waiting to say that. You were waiting to share that, weren't you?
I mean, kind of, but I'm just like, what smell do I like that is uniquely me that I feel like I'm the only one who likes it?
I'm smelling gas and burning my brain cells.
I just like the idea of people being like, "Why does he just sit in his car?" And never mind.
You're at the gas pump just inhaling fumes straight from the nozzle.
You'd just be happy I didn't fucking say when you freaking spray paint into a bag. Oh, Jesus Christ. Everybody loves the smell of a service station. Everyone. Anyway.
So, honestly, guys, that's our take on physical versus digital. Like, ultimately, as you can tell from John and I, we're impartial either way. We both, like, I prefer physical, he prefers digital, but we both respect each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing, because the big divide is, oh, you like digital? Well, screw you, you're invalid. Oh, you like physical? That's just a waste of space. Screw you, you're invalid. When the reality is, the number one message gamers can give other gamers is you game how you want to game.
Where do you displace your sense of value? Tell us in the comments.
So, well, this was a fun, heated conversation with a lot of gasoline smelling.
Yeah, these fumes are great. I think I might be having a stroke.
James!
James, get me to the hospital. Otherwise, I'm going to have this voice forever.
Ricky Bobby.
Is that Ricky Bobby?
No, I just wanted to say it.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm weird with tangents. Oh.
So as you guys know, you can find us on Facebook at Games with John and James, on Instagram at Games with John and James. You can listen to us on all platforms. We've made more headway in the website, so hopefully we'll be able to see that here soon.
Don't tell them that. I hope they'll forget so that when it comes out, it's a surprise. Maybe
Shiny.
everyone has brains like me where they just forget shit all the time.
So
Too much huffing gasoline.
I mean, too much snorting it.
Just do a line of
Use it like a neti pot. It goes in and comes out with like all your flesh leaking out.
Oh, God. It's like I embalm my brain. No, thank you.
Oh, man. But
Don't do drugs, kids.
yeah, let us know. What format do you prefer? Do you prefer to own them digital? Do you prefer to own them physical? We want to know, because ultimately every generation, the narrative for that shifts a little bit. Obviously, back in the day, you could only really own physical. Even computer games, it was the disc.
And if you want to have a hardline stance on something, why don't you go to your phone and play Crossy Road for a bit? How about that?
Flappy Bird.
Yeah, that too. Wait, you can't get that game anymore. Oh.
I still have it.
Sell your phone.
It's not worth much anymore.
Oh, it's not? That's
No.
bullshit.
Yeah, you remember when it was? It was like,
Yeah.
what?
Look, I need to have my Flappy Bird addiction. $50,000.
It was nuts. But no, let us know, like,
Oh my God, digital scarcity is real. NFTs are real, guys. Invest.
real.
I like how I basically just became a crackpot, and you're just kind of like, I'll just watch him become a crackpot.
I mean, what you guys can't see is he's actually wearing a gray hoodie, so it's like tinfoiling as we speak and like crinkling up.
I can't make it too pointy, otherwise people will make judgments about me.
I'll poke you.
No, that's what you do with the cigarette. Poke holes in the... Never mind.
Oh my God. But
Let's get out of here before I actually get I can't cancel myself.
So, like, as you heard, that's our stance for physical versus digital. It's a really unique environment because every generation is shifting. Mm-hmm. We don't know what it's going to be the next generation. But
you don't know what kind of shit PlayStation's going to try and pull next.
Or Microsoft. You never know. Because remember, they did drop the ball last generation. They are not immune to ball dropping.
The X ball.
X ball, give it to you.
I want the X ball now. I want that to be their next console.
It's just a sphere that opens up in front of you and sucks you in.
I would, if that's how I get into the metaverse, I'm cool with it.
Oh, now you support the metaverse.
It'd be like Persona, where you stick your hand in the TV. No, but yeah, I think that wraps it up pretty nicely. And if you've enjoyed this episode, hey, it's me, John.
And I'm James.
This was Games with John and James.
Be it physical, be it digital, we are here to keep it quickable.
Equivocal.
Equivocally.
Mathematical.
Calculatable.
Rhombus.
Booble.
Is that an actual term?
We're going to have to look that up because I don't know.
Right.
I like how that stopped.
That'll be the next episode topic. We'll find out what a booble is. And if it's not, it's going to be our boobs-only search engine.
Don't look at this. Don't look at this.
Safe search on. Oh, God. But all right, we'll see you next episode, y'all. Peace.
All right, y'all. Have a good one.